Hey, Lord of the Rings fans, this is Osgiliath, the Citadel of the Stars, or the Fortress of the Stars. Osgiliath was the original capital of Gondor, founded by Isildur and Anarion, shortly after they fled the fall of Numenor and established the southern kingdom of Gondor in Middle-earth. Osgiliath was located on both sides of the Anduin River, about midway between Minas Ithil, the Tower of the Moon, and Minas Anor, the Tower of the Sun. And in the great hall of Osgiliath sat the two thrones of the co-kings Isildur and Anarion, the sons of Elendil the Tall. Now, one of the Palantir, the great seeing stones, was housed in Osgiliath. In fact, it was the Master Stone, and it was the largest of the seven. It was located in Osgiliath in the Dome of Stars. Not long after Osgiliath was established, Sauron attacked Minas Ithil, and Isildur fled north to get help from his father Elendil the Tall, while Anarion stayed south and defended Osgiliath. Now, they took some time and they gathered their forces, all the elven kingdoms, and some help from the dwarves, and Isildur eventually returned with the armies of the Last Alliance, and Sauron was defeated at the end of the Second Age. Now, you all remember that from the beginning of the Lord of the Rings movies. All right? The city thrived for over 1,000 years until, unfortunately, the beginning of its decline came when in the year 1437, a period of civil war began, and this was known as the Kinstrife. Castamir, the usurper, seized the throne from the rightful king, Eldacar, and during that time, many battles and a great siege happened in the city, and the Master Stone sank into the Anduin and was lost forever. Even after the Civil War and the restoration of Eldacar on the throne, more tragedy came when in secret, Sauron from his fortress of Dol Guldur sent a great plague that ravaged Middle-earth and decimated the population of Osgiliath, and many people fled. Finally, the king's house was moved to Minas Tirith, formerly known as Minas Anor, because it was much more secure. So you know that city that was Anarion's, Minas Anor, it became Minas Tirith, the Tower of God. Now, Osgiliath remained as a city over the next few hundred years with a shrinking population due to many defeats coming from east of the river. And there were stories of the city being haunted by ghosts, giving it its moniker of the City of Ghosts. All right? Now, Osgiliath was finally completely abandoned when in 2475 of the Third Age, it was taken over by the Uruk-hai. If you didn't know, Saruman didn't create the Uruk-hai. Sauron actually created the Uruk-hai in Mordor, and a contingent of that was what took over the city, and they never got it back. It never populated again. You know what I'm saying? Now, the city remained as a strategic stronghold and a guard against enemies that tried to cross the river Anduin, though Gondor held the western side and Sauron's forces held the east. Sauron completely took the entire city and crossed the river during his attack on Gondor in the War of the Ring, until he was finally defeated when the One Ring was dropped into the fires of Mount Doom.